This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. Jurors in Brunswick, Georgia, have finished for the day in their deliberation over the fate of three white men accused of murdering a young African-American jogger, Ahmaud Arbery, in a trial that has divided a southern U.S. community and once again forced America to reckon with an incident of deadly force being wielded against a racial minority member. Closing arguments ended earlier Tuesday in the high-profile trial. The men are accused of chasing down and murdering Ahmaud Arbery outside Brunswick, Georgia in February 2020. The defendants have pleaded not guilty, contending they suspected Arbery, who was out on a jog, of burglarizing homes in their predominantly white neighborhood. Arbery's death sparked nationwide protests last year. If convicted, all three men face life in prison. A jury has awarded millions of dollars in damages against white nationalist leaders for violence that erupted during the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, in which one person died. After a nearly month-long civil trial, a jury in U.S. District Court in Charlottesville on Tuesday was deadlocked on two key claims, but found the white nationalists liable in four other counts. The jury awarded slightly more than $25 million to nine people who suffered physical or emotional injuries during the 2 days of demonstrations. At least 19 people, including 9 security force members, have been killed during an attack in Burkina Faso. That attack by suspected extremists. This, according to the government's press agency. On Tuesday, the attack occurred on Sunday in the center-north region. This is VOA News. Israel claimed Tuesday that Iran is 5 years away from developing a nuclear weapon and said international talks due to restart next week will do nothing to slow it down, adding it reserved the right to act to protect itself. The 2015 accord saw Iran agree to curbs on its nuclear program in return for the lifting of international sanctions, and indirect negotiations to revive the deal are due to resume in Vienna next Monday after a 5-month pause. Israel has long opposed the nuclear deal, but Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's government, which has been in power since June, had previously said it could be open to a new deal with tougher restrictions. Israel, itself widely believed to have nuclear weapons, has long argued that the 2015 deal was too weak to prevent Iran from pursuing a bomb. Former U.S. President Donald Trump abandoned the deal in 2018, describing it as too soft. Iran responded by violating some of the deal's restrictions. Current U.S. President Joe Biden's administration aims to revive U.S. participation in that nuclear deal. A top U.S. diplomat said Tuesday he's worried that the military developments in Ethiopia are getting in the way of efforts to stop the escalation of the country's year-long conflict. On returning from a trip to Ethiopia, U.S. Special Envoy Jeffrey Feltman told reporters he and other diplomats were trying to achieve a de-escalation and ceasefire between the Ethiopian federal government and forces led by the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front. The top U.S. and Russian generals spoke by phone Tuesday as tensions along the Russian-Ukrainian border appear to reach new highs. Both Washington and Moscow quickly issued readouts of the call. The U.S. statement said the two generals discussed several security-related issues of concern. It also said both sides had agreed to keep the details of Tuesday's call private. The conversation follows heightened concern about what the U.S. and NATO repeatedly have described as unusual activity by Russian forces along Russia's border with Ukraine and Crimea. Ukrainian intelligence estimates have put the number of Russian troops along the border at about 90,000. The World Health Organization said Tuesday that Europe remains in the firm grip of COVID, and the death toll on the continent could top 2.2 million this winter if current trends continue. It says some 700,000 could die in the coming months as cases creep up across Europe, prompting some countries to reimpose tough restrictions. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton, VOA News.